Can the New Orleans Saints offense improve without a change at play caller? We're answering your questions here on the Locked On Saints Extra Point. What's going on, everybody? Ross Jackson here, daily host of the Locked On Saints podcast, your daily podcast covering the New Orleans Saints, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Taking a look at a big question that's been going around all of Saints social media, as well as our Locked On Saints Insiders as well, which is a program you can join by heading over to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnSaints today. I want to dive right into this one because really, I don't have one person to allocate this question to or to credit this question to, because this has been a big question since the Saints acknowledged that they're not going to make a change at offensive coordinator. And the short answer to this question is yes, right? The New Orleans Saints offense can improve without making changes at play caller, but you have to ask the bigger question in that case. What can the New Orleans Saints change about their scheme, about their schematic approach to the game? And now some of this, you heard Dennis Allen, you've heard others talk about execution, right? Some folks have talked about effort. I tend to look at player effort. If there is a lack of player effort on the field, then it is a symptom of a larger issue. It is a symptom of coaching. It is a symptom of that player not feeling like they're being put in their best position to succeed. Look at Chase Claypool over in Chicago, for instance, right? Those things are usually not things that just happen out of nowhere. Players don't just choose not to give effort. So if you see anything, or if you believe that the New Orleans Saints that there were players that were lacking in effort, which is not necessarily my observation, but if you are amongst the group that sees that, look at the bigger picture. Is it that the players just lacked effort for no reason? No, that is always a symptom of a larger issue. And I think that the larger issue is that this New Orleans Saints offense right now is not catering to its talent. And I think that's the biggest thing that this team has to be able to do. And that's got to be done by creating yards after catch abilities for some of these explosive playmakers that this team has. This was a massive issue for them last year, not being able to properly utilize Alvin Kamara. Again, just like we talked about in the hurry up, if you caught that, which is another one of our new short form pieces, you look at a Saints team that for the past 2 seasons has had similar issues, 21 games, not just a 4-game small sample size. And so can you get Alvin Kamara those explosive plays and involved in all areas of the game? You have one of the most explosive pieces and one of the fastest players, it feels like, in the league, in Radhid Shaheed. Can you get the ball in his hands in stride with the opportunity to make some plays in space, as opposed to just the screen passes, the jet sweeps, things like that? Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, these are guys that can run routes for you and get open at all 3 levels of the field. Michael Thomas, though, able to get everything taken care of for you in the middle of the field, and you're not even attacking that area. You have these big tight ends that are these big time, very versatile receiving threats that, of course, can do a lot of other things as well. And I know 2 of them, Juwan Johnson as well as Foster Moreau, dealing with injury against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and therefore did not play, or, in Juwan Johnson's case, barely played at all, or didn't play a snap. These are guys that you have to get involved in your passing game. When you have the red zone opportunities, you went out and you got a Jamal Williams, who I know is on injured reserve right now, but you also have a Taysom Hill. You brought in Jimmy Graham. These guys are not getting touches in the red zone, except for the 1 touchdown that Jimmy Graham scored, which is the lone touchdown by this really, really athletic, really, really skilled tight end group. So you have to find ways to maximize the talent that's on the roster. There is talent on the roster, and that talent has not, in my opinion, been overestimated or overstated. But what has happened is that it's been underutilized. It's been minimized as opposed to maximized in terms of play calling, in terms of usage, in terms of getting the ball in these players' hands in advantageous situations, all of that. Now, the players still have to execute and make plays there. You have to break the tackles. You have to tiptoe on the sideline. You have to not run out of bounds. You have to stay on the field. You have to fight through contact. You have to do those things as a player. But right now, they're hardly even getting the chance to do that. And so for me, if I'm thinking about how do I maximize this offense and make improvements for this offense, it's simply putting these players in better positions to be able to make those plays and trust that they'll go out there and make those plays. This does not have to be a perimeter attack, 30, 40-yard deep ball game plan week in and week out. This can be a middle of the field attack, the short intermediate areas, use the short passing game as an extension of the runs game, challenge defenses horizontally as well as vertically. It can still be all of that, and there's no reason for it to go away from that. And right now, it seems to feel that they have ventured away from that. If you look at Derek Carr's passing chart from week 1, several targets in between the hashes in the middle of the field. Week 2, week 3, week 4, you see nothing happening over the middle of the field, save a couple of passes here and there. That can't be the case as you continue to move forward. So how do the New Orleans Saints improve without making a change at play caller? You have to believe that that play caller can help to make the change schematically. And it's not going to take very long to know whether or not that's working. That's our Locked On Saints extra point. For more, we'll have a fresh episode of Locked On Saints, the full thing, up Tuesday morning, taking a deeper look at this. What are some of the concepts that the Saints can reintroduce to their offense to help get it up off the ground? We're going to take a look at all of that as we continue on with another episode of Locked On Saints. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you again here soon. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.